Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Square Eye Syndrome podcast number episode 15. I'm Ben Gilman. As always, I'm joined by Tom Hill,
Hi.
and Dan Rouge.
Right.
Raj,
Yeah.
I sound like a Frenchman. Sorry about that. Hi.
Ben, you're on fire today.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. What a great
That's 2
start.
for 2, mate.
Lovely. So we've got an announcement. Dan is now joining us permanently. As a fourth member of the team, because we've all felt it worked out really well last week. So welcome aboard, dude, officially.
Thank you very much.
Dan will be joining us on the Smug Mode episodes when we get to season 2, due to us recording in advance.
Yep.
And Troy this week is been locked in a cupboard somewhere. He's just can't find him. He's gone somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Taken by the goddess Anoia up until we dislodge that cutlery.
We're working negotiations right now to bring him back for next week, hopefully. Okay, so Dan, you're up first this week, bruv. What have you been watching?
Last week, anyone who was listening to that will know that I had become completely enamored by the show The Expanse.
Yep.
And from that point, I have finished everything that they've done. And so I really wanted to just sing praises for the cast in particular and bring attention to who is actually in this show. I don't want to talk much about the plot or anything. Find it out for yourselves. It's amazing. Every episode's worth watching.
Okay.
4 seasons so far. A 5th one was confirmed after the end of the 3rd season. It's doing really well. I'm excited to see where they go with it next. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about the people who were in it, really.
Sure. Okay, go for it, dude.
So we have the main character is called James Holden. He's the guy you're really following.
Okay.
He's the one at the center of this story. He's alongside a few others, but that's your most consistent presence.
Okay.
And he's played by a dude called Stephen Strait. Anyone heard of him?
Name rings a bell.
Yes, likewise, I've heard it, but I can't place it. Yeah.
Okay, so things he's been in: The Covenant, 2006 film, which I haven't seen.
Okay.
10,000 BC, which is that sort of the epic caveman one that came out sort of almost as a rival to, was it Apocalypto?
Yeah, same time. They both got released at the same time.
Yeah, bit more of a Hollywoodized, where the other one was very much an epic in like the truest sense of the word. This one was more of a Hollywoodized version, a bit more palatable. He was also in Sky High, which is a sort of kids superhero movie, sort of coming of age.
Okay, yeah.
Those are the ones that I've known about, seen enough of to really know what they are. But other titles are City Island, Life, and Undiscovered. So if anyone's seen any of those, they might recognize.
Is he an actor that you follow around a lot? If you see his name on a cast, do you tend to just go watch the show?
He's an actor who I will definitely be keeping an eye out for from here.
Okay.
I didn't even recognize that he was in Sky High. It was a while ago, so he's still a young actor, so he was obviously a lot younger. Didn't make the connection. In this, he's good. He's really good. He has all of the like constricting factors that you have whenever you are the leading man. So those, I mean, they get dealt with well enough, but still, some of the others get to be a bit more interesting because they don't have to be as consistent. The leading lady in it is Dominique Tipper,
Dominic Tipper.
who
And not
plays.
too... that one.
She plays Naomi Nagata.
The Japanese character.
No, names are a lot more sort of, we're way into the future, therefore nomenclature has also evolved.
Okay.
So Naomi Nagata is actually a Belter name. The main character is from Earth, and is from a polycule family, and had a birth mother, but an amalgamation of 8 different people's DNA whenever he was born. And this is just like a character detail. This doesn't matter.
So what, like
that's the kind of science.
Twins?
No, like has 4 males contributing to his DNA and 4 females contributing to his DNA, and those 8 people live together as
that
one
sounds
family.
like a mix of genes. Imagine that. Yikes.
That's interesting.
8 parents.
But
Jesus.
it's not even seen as being like this major thing. It's just sort of one of the options available in this future timeline. It doesn't contribute to the story in any way other than you find a bit more of his character out when you find this out. And it does contribute to some of his personality levels and, choices he makes. But yeah, that's seen as completely normal for an Earth person to have, whereas Naomi Nagata is street trash made good, basically. She's been involved with sort of freedom fighter / terrorist organizations in the past as a stupid young person, and not necessarily like really properly involved with them, but sort of the same way you get like people claiming that they're a member of something much larger than they have comprehension of. Who eventually ends up on the same ship as James Holden's on in this first episode. A ship called the Canterbury, which is hauling ice to a station on Ceres. Because the belt is like, it's far out in the solar system, like around Jupiter and Saturn is mostly where these people are found, around the moons and on satellite stations and things of that nature. Dominique Tipper plays her role really, really well. She's a very, very conflicted character, and it's just played brilliantly. Other things you might know her from are The Girl with All the Gifts, Mind Gamers, Fast Girls, Vampire Academy.
Vampire Academy. Hannah Montana, heard it. Seen it with my nieces.
No, the film Montana.
Oh, Montana, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, she does really well. Then we're going to move on to someone who plays like an authority figure. And I'm sorry if I completely butcher this, but Shohreh Aghdashloo, or Aghdashloo,
okay,
has been in House of Sand and Fog, The Stoning of Soraya M., Star Trek Beyond, The Lake House, House of Saddam, A Simple Wedding. She's an Iranian-American actress who plays basically one of the heads of state for Earth. The one that's basically the Varys of the situation. If we were talking Game of Thrones, or who else in another series? The secret keeper, the behind the scenes, get shit done, not afraid to play dirty, always has to win.
Snake.
Basically, yeah.
Right. Of all of the portrayals of everyone in this entire series, hers stands head and shoulders above almost every single one of them.
In
Her
what way?
portrayal is consistent. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's fucking ruthless.
Subtle.
It's absolutely brilliant. And
Is she
it just gets
basically
better.
veterinary?
Huh?
Is she basically veterinary?
No, she's more flawed than Veterinary ever is.
Okay.
And her flaws make her an even better character as well. She literally is not, she never allows herself to lose. And she keeps on making these sacrifices to win. And she never sees the true result of her sacrifices until it's too late. She always thinks that she can just get away scot-free. And she gets what she wants, but she regrets it over and over and over again. It's wonderful. Then we move on to like another one of these sort of, you're following them because they're basically with the main character almost all the time. This is the character who is I'm the closest thing to an unhinged psychopath you're going to find on the good guy's side.
There's always one somewhere spoiling the party.
And he's played by Wes Chatham, who was the Philly Kid in the fight game film. The Philly Kid was in Mockingjay, but I haven't seen Mockingjay.
He's
in the Valley of Elah.
Yeah.
And from this, this is another one where I'm going, okay, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for this guy.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, for most of them, if I see them, that's a reason to watch what they're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, he plays his role really well. It's a very interesting story. It's a slow burn on his story. For a lot of the time, he is just the guy who takes the bullet, who does the violence, who's like, why don't we just kill everybody? I mean, it's an option, right?
Get to the point, exactly.
But yeah, I hesitate to say it because, like, of what's attached to it, but he plays very, like, neurodivergent.
Right.
He might be something on a spectrum somewhere whenever you first look at him. Now, there is an answer to this, and that does get played out, and I'm not doing the answer any justice. But that would be your first impression. It's not that he's actually bad. It's not that he doesn't want to be good. It's that there's definitely something faulty in the wiring somewhere. And he can't make those judgment calls. And the character relies entirely on Naomi Nagata, who I've discussed already, to basically be his conscience and his guide. She's his Jiminy Cricket.
Okay.
How am I doing on time, by the way?
Yeah, you're fine.
Cool. All right. So carrying on, another one of the main characters who you're going to follow the whole way through the series, who is basically part of this crew of this one ship that ends up being formed, is Cass Anvar, who he plays Alex, and Alex is the pilot. He's from Mars. He's a Canadian actor. He speaks in the series basically almost like he's a cowpoke in Texas. But he's from Mars. He's, again, a very conflicted character. He's sort of I had a life and I threw it away.
Right.
Because I wanted something that I never really let myself understand until I had people to let down. And so he's carrying a lot of guilt around and is trying to be a better person because of that. I'm not going to say much more about him because it does give stuff away.
So it's basically a redemption story for him.
Yeah, in ways. Redemption and coming to terms with things, basically. So he's been in The Operative, Shattered Glass, Olympus, Diana, Source Code. Cass Anvar, really, really good actor. Then we move on to the character Miller. And Miller is played by Thomas Jane.
Oh, Thomas Jane, Punisher, and many other roles. He's a good actor.
I'd say he's probably the most famous actor in this group. Of the things I've seen him in, this is by far my favorite of his portrayals. His presence kind of drops off a fair bit at one point, but then he comes back again. And even that is, I'm sorry, a little bit of a spoiler. He's a hard-boiled detective. He in the sort of the crime noir, hard-boiled detective kind of thing.
Does he go as far as the Punisher?
He's more morally grey.
Oh, okay.
More morally grey than Punisher. Jesus.
Well, the Punisher is about as grey as you can get. Dan, Thomas Jane.
Yeah, so I was saying how he plays this Detective Miller guy, really sort of gritty noir detective style. Bit of an oddball, kind of roguish. And yeah, we were talking about how it differs from Thomas Jane's role in The Punisher. And in that, The Punisher is more of a sort of a just grit your teeth and head straight through kind of guy, whereas this guy is very much use your head, stay out of trouble as much as you can, but also stir the pot, keep stirring the pot. Absolutely great character. My favorite Thomas Jane performance I've ever seen. Moving on, because we have far too many people to get through. We have Frankie Adams, who plays this Martian Marine character. Frankie Adams, she's from New Zealand. She's been in Mortal Engines.
Yeah. The Netflix series or the film?
I think it was the film.
Okay.
Yeah, the film, 2018. So yeah, carrying on from that, we have Cara G, or Cara Gee, who's a Canadian actress. She was in Strange Empire and Call of the Wild and Empire of Dirt. All sorts of things I haven't seen. But in this, she plays sort of street rat turned military genius. Very fiercely loyal to the belt, is very, very opinionated, isn't afraid to completely put herself on the line and even just accept death to, she believes in something a lot bigger than herself. Brilliant character. Florence Favre, who is a Thai actress, plays Julie Mao, rich girl turned sort of sticking up for the little guy antagonizer kind of person who everyone sees as being just a little bit naive, who Detective Miller is initially sent off to find, and that's the beginning of his story is, hey, off the books, we need you to look up where this one's run off to. And that begins his getting into this whole thing. She is not really in it very much to begin with. The things that she does end up doing are pretty cool.
Okay.
Sean Doyle.
That's an interesting about.
He was in the movie, not Avengers Endgame, but Endgame from 2011 and Bellevue from 2017.
Okay.
Couple of other things. This would definitely be his best role in terms of just exposure and length of time he's on the role. And he plays another one of the Earth government figures, a sort of right-hand man advisor to basically the overall ruler of the United Nations. Then we have Chad Coleman. You know Chad Coleman?
Heard of him?
The Wire, The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
Orville, Arrow. He's been
Everything,
in a lot
basically.
of things. He played Cutty on The Wire.
Okay, I can visualize him now.
And Tyrese Williams in The Walking Dead.
Oh, he was good.
And in this, he plays. I've completely forgotten his name. But Fred Johnson, who is formerly an Earth military commander who is now working for the Belt Freedom Fighters, the OPA, and is very high up in that chain of command. Every single one of these, just assume that I'm just completely singing the praises of them. I just want to get people interested via these actors and actresses, because none of them get the recognition they deserve, especially these next few. Burn Gorman doesn't show up until later.
And many other roles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of him.
Rim,
actually.
Torchwood, Dark Knight Rises, Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. He's been in a lot of things. He doesn't get near enough credit. David Strathairn.
Heard of him, yeah.
Yeah. In Good Night and Good Luck, he plays an absolute blinder in that. He's in The Bourne Ultimatum as one of the guys who's working in the FBI.
Yeah.
He's in the Spiderwick Chronicles, A League of Their Own, Godzilla, The River Wild. He's fantastic in this. He's another OPA guy, a former pirate turned military. I adore his character completely. I hated him off the bat when I saw him.
Okay.
He's brilliant. Paul Costanzo has a minor part. He's what do I know him from? Designated Survivor, Road Trip, 40 Days and 40 Nights. He's the guy who keeps on going, yeah, you really should go and have sex.
Is he the stoner from Road Trip?
Yeah.
The genius stoner.
I love him.
Oh, yeah. Good actor.
I love his
he has, okay, serious spoilers. He starts off being a really, really top level character. He just doesn't last long. I'm sorry, it's a spoiler, but he's one of the first to die.
Okay.
Now we have Elizabeth Mitchell, who is in Purge Election Year, was in Lost, Santa Claus 2, Once Upon a Time, V, Revolution. She was Juliet Burke in Lost.
I know her, yeah. Blondie.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic role, but again, sort of a not until later role. She's not in the first few seasons.
Okay. Is there anyone else before we wrap it up?
Yeah. The last one, and this is the one I've been saving for last, because this is the one I reckon Tom's going to go, ooh, and switch over from him being like, okay, yeah, I kind of have to watch this to, yes, I have to fucking watch this. Jared Harris. Jared Harris plays a guy who is kind of leader of the criminal underground for the OPA.
Okay.
The OPA member with the most political aspirations. Kind of Godfather.
I didn't catch the name. What was that?
Jared Harris.
Oh, Moriarty.
There we go. There's the noise.
Also coming up in Morbius as well, which I can't wait to see.
Oh, the Spider-Man spin-off. Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that.
No, I do like Jared Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound like you've become a fan now.
This is another one of his I find myself quoting him most often from this show.
Okay.
He really, really stands out as being someone who you go, oh, I can just feel the presence of this completely unique and very powerful character. Absolutely adored it. Total standout. He's not much in the last season. He's still around, but he's not much in the last season. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. There are a host of other names.
Okay.
All of them do absolutely brilliantly in their roles, but that's literally the main ones. All of those ones that I've mentioned are at some point or other the main level of character. It's that complex.
And I will make sure they get tagged in this episode so that everybody, a fan, can just come find the podcast and listen to more.
Thank you.
Definitely. Hey, dude, don't worry about it. I'll go through the whole thing and tag everyone in it. Let's do it.
So, yeah, I think they're absolutely fantastic. And
I'm going to try and watch it now. 2 weeks of you trying to get us to watch it. I think I might give it a try. You seem like you got good taste.
Absolutely.
I think I trust you this early in our relationship, Dan. Okay.
Well, that's your decision.
Well, no, I trust the Irish person. My family's half Irish, so obviously Irish people, good with me.
Again, that's your decision.
Okay. Hasn't taken me wrong so far. All right, Tom, you're up. Cheers, Dan.
Right, okay. Right, so first thing for me this week is to go back to a show I spoke about a while ago, which kind of broke our rules a bit, which was the documentary on The Undertaker.
Okay, it's finished now.
It's just finished this week, which is why I'm coming back to it. When I spoke about it before, I'd only seen the first episode, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's continued at a really high level. I mean, for the first time ever, you're seeing Mark Calloway, not The Undertaker, like properly. And it's explained. Gone?
I've just wanted to say, Dan, you've been your cover as a wrestling fan has been blown by Tom last week. We found so.
No, definitely a wrestling fan.
Oh, dude, I'm watching the New Japan Cup right now. Loving that. Just got to New Japan. Loving that. Boy, hey, I'll let you get back on, Tom. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah. So obviously, for like the last 30 years, The Undertaker has been this amazing character, and the guy has very, very rarely broken kayfabe. So he's always kind of stayed in character in public. He's never really, he never shows up he's always at the Hall of Fame, but he's never on camera. Things like that. He's just, the mystique is kept all the time, and he's done this all his career. So this documentary really is a very different look at how it goes, and it explains why he took the match against Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. It explains why he took the match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Kane, because he was saying he's looking for that one last really good match, that one that's kind of will allow him to walk away going, you know what, I'm happy with that.
It's a pretty good way for him to end, I think. It's a pretty good way.
I'm going to get to that. No, that's cool. But so things like he works really well with Kane, and he knows that he works well with Triple H, and he knows that he works well with Shawn Michaels, and he knows it. So he thought to himself, that will be a great match. I trust all those guys will be brilliant. And then all of them come out the back. You see them coming out the curtain going, well, that was just no point in doing that. They're all devastated with how it went. So obviously Triple H injured himself, which messed about with all of it. Shawn Michaels, although still very good, was a hair off his best.
He had no hair. It was distracting. A bold Shawn Michaels. That whole match was sad to watch, but my God, no hair.
Shawn Michaels actually still did. When you think that he hadn't wrestled in 8 or 9 years,
I enjoyed that match, and it was the only thing that was enjoyable about that show, or pretty much any other Saudi Arabia.
Or anything. Yeah, there we go. You've hit it right ahead.
No argument with you that Saudi shows are an atrocity. But it explains to you why. It explains why he's had these matches. And then Vince approached him about Goldberg, and he went, you know what, I've never wrestled Goldberg. Let's see. And then obviously, But it was nobody's fault. Goldberg got himself concussed in the first.
Also, the heat as well. Don't forget, it's really, really hot.
Yeah.
They're not accustomed to it. It's easy to make mistakes in the heat.
The reason the mistakes happened were that Goldberg concussed himself a couple of minutes in.
Bret Hart most probably laughed his ass off in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, due to the concussion he got from Goldberg at Starrcade '99. So
that's not the point. But anyway, you know how Undertaker, it showed him at the WrestleMania, not this year's WrestleMania, but the Mania before, where he didn't wrestle. And he and Vince had spoken and they'd agreed he wouldn't be there. And then Undertaker was there behind the curtain at WrestleMania and went, it just feels wrong that I'm not performing here. I'm not ready to stop. So he felt like he couldn't stop at that point, which is what he then took the Goldberg match. And then, I don't know if you remember, he wrestled at Extreme Rules in a tag team match against Shane and Drew McIntyre alongside Roman Reigns. Yeah. And that was a good match. He looked really good in that match.
Yeah.
And interestingly, you see him coming back through the curtain and saying to Vince, you know what, I think I'm done. And it's kind of weird because you go, no, you know what, that match was actually really good. And then you see him being interviewed afterwards and you go, you know what, I could walk away happy right now. But that match almost went too well.
It's a very interesting look into The Undertaker there because you never got this access to the Mark Calloway guy before, really.
Precisely. And then it kind of rolls on that he'd kind of accepted that Extreme Rules was where he was going to end it. And then he did the Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold, where he spoke about ending it on his own terms. And AJ Styles was watching it. And AJ rang him up and said, you sound like you want to do one more match. Please, can it be me?
Yeah.
The Undertaker went, you know what? Give me a few months to see if I can get my fitness up and I'll give you an answer, which is what they did.
And I love the fact he came back as American Badass Taker. I know that a lot of people like that one, but I have a soft nostalgic spot for American Badass Taker.
But once again, he talks about why he came back as the American Badass version, and he says that wasn't the intention. It was entirely because he gave AJ free reign to say whatever he wanted, and AJ was calling him Mark, talking about his wife, and he went, you know what, I can't show up as just Supernatural Taker. This guy's calling out my wife. I have to show up as the husband, which is why he went with the biker version. It was kind of a natural development, and obviously it's his thing. But also, interestingly, they speak to him after that match. And he talks about the fact that actually on his way to record that match, he was phoned and told that his brother had died. On the day that he filmed the Boneyard match, he'd just been informed that his brother had died of a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine the emotions going through, but also that made him think to himself, you know what, I need to spend more time with my kids. And then he's saying that the Boneyard match was actually a great way to end, and that he could now retire happy. And sounds like he has retired, but he puts the caveat on the end. If Vince came and said he really needed me, I'd think about it. So he sounds like he's found the match that has allowed him to end it on his own terms and was a damn good match.
Yeah.
But there's that caveat there. If Vince asks him, I think he'll come back for one more. I mean, if it were me and I were him, I might do Survivor Series this year because it's exactly 2 good days.
It's a shame if he didn't get a match there. I want to see a Boneyard Funhouse String Stampede match. Cross it over. In the broken universe.
I kind of want to see him really pass the torch to a new kayfabe god, if you know what I mean.
Thing is, there's never going to be anybody like The Undertaker again. Bray Wyatt is the closest thing you're going to get.
See, this is the thing. What I wanted to talk to you guys about is obviously his WrestleMania streak. Okay, sorry, viewers, we're going to talk wrestling, but I think there's a crossover. So he from Ric Flair, from Triple H to what was it? The last Triple H match. He went on a hot streak against Batista, Edge, Shawn Michaels,
Punk.
Yeah. Decent match with Mark Henry was a stinker, but with Ric Flair's a pretty much underrated gem. His first match with Triple H is still pretty good from 17. He had a very good match with Randy Orton, which no one talks about, 21. What was he doing at 22? Mark Henry casket match. 23 Batista, 24 Edge, 25 Shawn was 26 Michaels, 27 28 Triple H, 29 Punk, 30 Lesnar.
Yeah.
He got concussed. 31 Bray Wyatt was
Bray Wyatt.
32 with Shane McMahon was a joke. 33 with Roman Reigns just didn't really click. 34 John Cena. I enjoyed that massacre. And there's a Boneyard.
Yeah.
But who could have broken the streak?
Who should have broken the streak?
I think Lesnar was the right guy.
Lesnar was the most believable person to break the streak. Whether he needed that rub is questionable.
I mean, are we really just tacking on to the end of a talk about a documentary about The Undertaker and a discussion about who should have broken the streak? That feels like another podcast on its own.
I know, but for me personally, the shock of Lesnar beating him, and I remember watching it live, very drunk with some mates, and the freak out happened, and I think, what the F word? And everyone just stood up in the living room, like, with everyone in the crowd. It's like one of those moments of, holy shit, because no one reacted to it. It's just like, oh, F word. Jesus Christ. I've never freaked out like that before at a wrestling match. It's John Cena versus Brock Lesnar.
Well, the thing you got to consider is it was a good match, considering Undertaker was concussed for like 90% of it. So Brock Lesnar actually carried him through that match.
Yeah.
And that's not very often that Brock Lesnar will do that for someone. So it gives you an idea of the respect level he has to have for Mark Calloway, that he was basically willing to do all the heavy lifting.
Okay,
you wouldn't realise.
Completely fantasy booking. Who would you want to just say a name? Just no context.
Sarah. Sorry. It should have been Sarah that ended history. No. I don't know. I mean, I respect him, and the documentaries, the WWE has always done good documentaries.
This is their best one.
Even going back to the days of like DVDs and Blu-rays, their documentaries on special releases are amazing. I've always admired WWE. Their video packages are amazing as well for feuds and pay-per-views.
We're gonna have to do one about the resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts.
One day we, because Troy's also a wrestling fan as well, Dan. So that's definitely achievable. But Tom,
that's a whole different podcast.
There's no rules on the podcast, bro. You can bring back.
But we can't just talk about wrestling on the podcast. That would be a little bit niche.
The audience can come to us because we always seem to end up like Doctor Who each week. Somehow wrestling seems to come back up. So
not as often as Doctor Who does.
We'll branch out.
No, wrestling's turn up on him more.
Anyway, right. So that's my first one. My second one is going to be a brief one. I wasn't going to do this one, but it was Dan talking about Thomas Jane made me think of it, because he was saying that his favourite performance by Thomas Jane is in... Sorry, what's the name of the show again, Dan? It's just gone out of my head.
The Expanse.
The Expanse. I'd like to put forward a different one, which was completely a comedy show called Hung. Did either of you watch this at any point?
Does it involve a penis?
No, yes and no.
I think I saw the pilot.
So basically what it is this guy is a down-on-his-luck gym teacher, teaches baseball and basketball. His house gets burnt down and he's got no money, he's got 2 kids and he's got all these things. But he also happens to have a better-than-average sized penis, so becomes a male escort. And it's basically the story of him trying to balance being a teacher, being a prostitute, being a parent, and all of those things. Setting up his company with a friend of his called Happiness Consultants, which is basically him. And so it's really silly. It's a completely different side to Thomas Jane. Having only seen him in things like The Punisher, it was really nice to see him just pissing about and having fun with a role. And it's about sex, but it's not really. The story is about many other things. And it's just a really interesting premise and a really stupid premise at the same time. And yeah, it's also got people like the third season. He's got a rival gigolo in his area, played by Stephen Amell, a pre-Arrow Stephen Amell. And it's just little things like that that make me smile. Just the really interesting cameos and stuff, because they do have quite a few different cameos coming into it. And yeah, like I said, that is probably my favourite Thomas Jane thing, just because it was completely unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had no intention of watching it, and then I was sitting at home one night, couldn't sleep, and it was on like E4 or something.
I'm just going to put in the description. Tom wants to talk about the Punisher's penis.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Feel free. But yeah, it's a really silly show, but it is worth the watch. Go and have a look at it, because like I say, it's kind of coincidental that it's about sex, because that's really not what it's about. It's about this person trying to juggle so many different things whilst keep everything hidden. And yeah, it's good fun. It's silly and it's irreverent. And yeah, it had 3 seasons, which was more than I thought they'd be able to get out of it. But
That's pretty good. That's pretty good in this kind
I
of thing.
thought it was probably going to be a 1 season and done kind of idea, but actually, because you've got people like Thomas J who can act with a lot of depth,
Mm-hmm.
he brought a lot to the role that you maybe would have thought would have been superficial in the first place, and whether another actor might have been, where he plays it very well. He's basically a man on the verge of a nervous breakdown 90% of the show.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
Sounds
my.
like- So that's your pick. The Punisher's penis. Okay.
I don't think that's the official name for it, but yeah,
I'm totally gonna put that in there.
feel free.
Okay. So mine. My picks. I literally had until yesterday a couple of shows lined up, but I'm gonna put them back for a few weeks because I've planned about 6 weeks worth of shows, back and forth basically. There's a show. Now I'm a big fan of Japanese culture, as Tom already knows. So Dan, you might want to get used to this. I tend to throw in some Japanese shows on Netflix quite regularly.
Okay.
There's a dating show. There's 2 big dating shows that are Netflix originals on Netflix. The premise of the first one is Terrace House, but I'm not here to talk about that one. It's basically very quickly 6 people come to a house to live together, 3 boys, 3 girls. It's sometimes about love, but mostly it's there to better themselves. Love is there, but if they leave, other people come in, and it's quite boring because it's, how do I describe it? You follow them in their jobs, but most of the time they spend sitting at the kitchen table talking about food and stuff. It's kind of really boring.
Big Brother.
Yeah, it's basically Big Brother. The new season, Hana Kimura was on the latest season before she unfortunately died. So I haven't finished watching the season because I feel like I can't enjoy it now.
Yeah.
But that show's quite boring anyway. There's another show called Ainuri, which is before Netflix brought it back in 2017, was a Japanese staple for 20 years in Japan. Basically, 4 boys, 3 girls get on a pink bus and travel around other Asian countries, not Japan. So they travel a whole country and go see things and try and find love. So like Terrace House, this is the whole point of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more fun because they teach you about the country and the cultures of each country they visit as well. So not only do you have the developing relationships between all the bus members, but you also have the ongoing education of different cultures, which I really appreciate. It's also a lot more snappier as well because it's not just them just sitting at a boring kitchen table. There's always movement. It's 24 minutes, and it's quite funny. Terrace House just kind of feels. Terrace House is like watching paint on a wall dry.
It's like voyeurism.
Yeah, I started to watch it for my language skills because my wife's Japanese. But annually is more fun, and you generally, unlike Terrace House where you can leave whenever you want, annually you have to confess your love to someone. So what they do here is the person that does the confessing has to go, with or without them. The minute you condemn yourself to a confession, you got 24 hours, and the person that goes with you has the option to go with you back to Japan or go and stay on the bus. It is a bit cheesy. They keep coming back to a panel in the studio that isn't as good as Terrace House's panel. Is hilarious because they're all Japanese stand-up comedians. They're just hilarious. They make the show worth watching sometimes. One thing I have noticed there with these shows is the Japanese comedians are all adulterers, and there is a very annoying woman on it called Becky, who had an affair with someone. In Japan, if you have an affair, it's really bad. It's not like here in England when we laugh about it and go ha 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 ha. It can ruin careers. Basically, you're blackballed from going on TV. It's like a big disrespect thing. But somehow Becky's managed to resurrect her career. She just says really stupid things. And the annoying thing about Ainuri that is different to Terrace House, there's one thing. You can hear the commentators all the time over the footage, where in Terrace House, they decide, hey, we're going to cut to the studio, then we're going to cut to the house, but you don't hear the commentators until they come back to them. In Ainuri, the annoying thing is all you can hear is Becky screaming, "Oh my God, what's that? Oh my God, so cute." It's just like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Oh, she's really stupid. And the commentators are the only thing that Terrace House is better at than Ainuri. But I've been rewatching it with my wife. It's just a really good show. And it's always interesting to see how a new person comes onto the bus, they can change the whole mood of the group. And yeah, I want people to watch that more than Terrace House, but I don't think Terrace House is coming back now.
Yeah.
Because Tokyo 2020 has been cancelled indefinitely. Because they temporarily suspended filming before COVID-19. And then they said we're bringing it back, and because Japan's done quite a good job with the COVID situation, and then obviously the unfortunate suicide of Miss Kimura, as obviously they might not even bring back the franchise because it might be poisoned now. So I've stopped. They're not going to release the rest of the episodes in England or America. But yeah, so please watch Ainuri. There's another show that I wanted to talk about called Sliced on Dave. I picked it. Yeah, it's about a pizza parlor.
Oh yeah, I know it.
It's a bit shit as well. The reason I've watched it is because I watched it because it was 3 episodes, and we noticed that my house was in the shot. It's basically filmed in Croydon, very close to where I live in Norwood. It's in Penge as well. So it's kind of cool because I go past the pizza parlor every day. It's not a pizza parlor; it's a disused shop. But it's that weird moment where you see something on TV where you're like, "Hold on a minute, that's just down the road." And I stayed around for that. It's basically about 2 people that are pizza boys who do pizza delivery, and I love the In-Betweeners, but since the In-Betweeners, it feels like they've tried to do a million youth comedies without trying to figure out why the In-Betweeners are so funny.
The problem with youth comedies is that they're written by older people who think they sound like youth when they very rarely do.
And one of the actors is someone, if you've a BBC comedy called Fried. Do you guys know of that one?
Yep.
Nope.
So I'm going to call him out because he's never good at anything. By the way, Dan, I make enemies on this podcast. I call out actors I don't like.
So who are you calling out this week?
I am. He's not even in the cast list. Right, hold on a minute. Where is he? I can't find him. Oh yeah, William Mellin.
Who?
William Mellin. He's appeared in various things. He's appeared in He's appeared in everything from Skins to Sherlock to Doctor Who to Fried. He's always the background. He's got a lot of film credits to his CV, but I just don't think he's a good actor. I don't know. He's just got a face that you want to punch. Not that I would punch anyone, but he's got the type of face that if you were in school, you would want to suffocate him down the toilet, put his head down the toilet and flush it continuously. You know,
he's the kid with the camera in Harry Potter.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I thought he was an annoying twat back then. I'm sure he's a nice guy. It's just you can't act, mate. Like, I don't know how he keeps getting acting roles. But you know when you get one of those actors that appears in everything, and sometimes it's nice to see the same actor pop up everywhere. With him, I just kind of, if it wasn't for the hometown location, it sounds like a selfish pick. I wouldn't have followed it the whole way through. Because when I normally see him in a show, it's death for me. So yeah, it's just not. It's got penis jokes, it's suicide jokes. It's just not funny. I don't know. I just feel like Dave is normally really good with his comedy. You know, your Red Dwarfs, all your comedy panels. Taskmaster is most probably the best thing I've ever seen on Dave. Taskmaster is just fantastic.
Taskmaster's kind of a bit Whose Line Is It Anyway? It carries that magic.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. It's just, and then I see this, I feel like I'm watching a BBC Three comedy. You know, it doesn't click with me. The characters, it's not the characters are annoying. It's just they're not funny. I don't know.
You'd have to relate a lot more to directly you for you to find them good to watch.
I think I'm too old for it. But that's the one that I wanted to talk about. So those are my two picks. Finally, and well, not pick, slice, please avoid it. It's somehow got a second season.
Fair.
I don't know what this is about Dave. But yeah.
We'll have to wait and see what everything says about everything at this point. Everything's in flux.
Well, yeah, who knows what's going to happen in the next year or so. I'm waiting for Netflix to run out of originals. Such a stockpile lined up. They're still batting out big ones every week. Eventually, that's going to dry up. You would have to think at some point this year.
Well, unlikely because loads of things have started filming again this week.
Oh, really? That's good.
Like I know for like The Matrix #4 went back to filming in Germany this week.
And Doctor Who's been delayed, but who really cares at this point? If it
just
comes
you,
back
Ben.
next year. No, I don't. I want it to come back better next year. I'm like Dan. I want it to be good. I'll watch it, but don't think I won't bitch about it if I don't like it. I will stick by it through thick and thin. But I just hope it comes back better. But anyway, that's me done.
Yeah. All right then. So that's us for the week, is it?
I was about to say Troy, but I forgot he's not here. We really should let him out the cupboard.
Not yet. Not till he's learned his lesson.
Yeah, it's okay. So we do. I hope
he's never going to learn his lesson. He's going to talk about Charmed next week as well.
I hope not. It's only taking you a week to figure out what it took me and Tom a couple of weeks to figure out.
Well, I had the benefit of warning.
Yeah, and you most probably listened to some of the episodes as well, right?
Yeah.
Always helpful. So we are next week with diversion back to specials. We're going to do Ashes to Ashes because last month, we did Life on Mars, but we decided that there was so much to talk about. we decided to split the two up into two separates. So next time, come back with us to the 80s for Ashes to Ashes. I'm really looking forward to that. I've been rewatching it. I'm pumped for it.
Fair.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Definitely.
Not as good as Life on Mars, but still a good show.
But still good. They have a bit more fun with it because it's a bit more of a comedy.
Yeah, it's a bit less serious. Yeah.
I think that really. I don't know how I feel about that, but we can find that out together next week.
Yep.
I'm really excited for this one. So Dan, again, congratulations on your promotion.
Yeah, well, thank you. And yeah, let's just keep it going. Let's keep talking about things.
Let's do it.
Also, I'm going to be talking about superhero TV shows at some point soon.
That's what I was planning on, but I changed things this week. But it's coming. Week 19. It's going to be a big week. Basically, also, like I mentioned previously, we're going to keep we've had a really big feedback on Red Dwarf in terms of viewing figures, which everyone seems to like, apparently. It's done quite well numbers wise. So if you do like what you're hearing, we would like you to subscribe and share it and get our subscribers count up. If you're enjoying it, feel free to subscribe so that we can, because we're dropping 2 podcasts a week. We're working hard for you guys. We're very happy with the views and the support, the silent support. Please feel free to comment as well. Like I said earlier, Dan will be joining us from season 2 because we record in blocks. We record the season together in one run. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting us, and hopefully next week Troy will make it a foursome again. Anyway, that's goodbye for me.
Bye from me.
And also me. Have a good one.
Cheers, guys, and good night.